in Barcelona, against Dreimanis. The matchup on the left of our screen, it's one of the Noble Hierarch decks. At this point, there's a number that it could reasonably be. Ultimately, though, I believe that it's humans on the left of our screen, and Gintz is on spirits.
That is indeed correct. Both are Noble Hierarch decks, both are tribal decks. So we're going to see some good magic, some creature combat, some attacking, some blocking, tribal synergies. Should be good, and a nice reply from those wacky Dredge decks, Cracklin Ironworks decks, and Death Shadow decks.
Gonzalo Serrano Molinero.
This is more, you could argue, Magic as Richard Garfield intended it.
Well, now, I mean, in terms of attacking low totals here, let's be clear, we have got 2 copies of Horizon Canopy on the left of our screen in order to power out that early Noble Hierarch and Thalia. On the other side of our screen, we've got a Flooded Strand fetching lands. These guys are not attacking their life totals.
True, but that's mainly to make sure that they have the correct colors of mana. They would prefer still to be at 20 if they could help it. Now, humans, the deck on the left, it rose to prominence about a year ago when Ixalan introduced Unclaimed Territory and Kitesail Freebooter, and the deck uses all kinds of 5-color lands to fix its mana base, allowing it to basically incorporate all the best humans from the last decade. Now the mana curve largely stops at 3, and the deck contains lots of ways to disrupt opponents, like the Thalia you see on the table there. But recently, especially after the introduction of Supreme Phantom, Banned Spirits rose to prominence as the tribal deck of choice. Supreme Phantom gave the deck like a 2-mana Spirit Lord, and it led to a resurgence of the tribe in Modern. Both decks play somewhat similarly, but Banned Spirits has more air power, more creatures with flying, and like better sideboard options. It also won the last 2 Modern GPs, but it looks like the humans deck is the one that's firing on all the cylinders here.
Yeah, when you have Thalia alongside her lieutenant, obviously good things happen. Meddling Mage also coming down here, the original Chris Picula artwork there on the Invitational winner card. When the Meddling Mage comes into play, you get to name a card. That card cannot be played. We're not 100% sure on exactly what that card is that's been named thus far. But a little wrinkle in the plans for Gintz here. And Gintz is Phantasmal Image copying Thalia, but not really too terribly many spells from Sanchez's deck. So really just a 2-1 first striker there.
Yeah, when it comes to Meddling Mage, I would likely name some of the better and more powerful cards in the Spirits deck, like Spell Queller or Collected Company. Those are the ones that would come to my mind at this stage.
Now, some humans decks in the past have run Collected Company. Is that something that we're likely to see here from Sanchez?
Well, it is fairly unlikely in general, and given that after looking at this deck list, it contains 0 copies of Collected Company. Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing that one. Not from him this game.
All right, so tapping that Ancient Ziggurat, that can only help make mana for creatures, which is the bulk of Sanchez's deck.
So this you're currently not watching a replay of Saturday. This is a Time Walk match, one from round 9. This basically happened about half an hour ago, so it is not completely live, but just recorded and playing right now, so we have as much magic as possible to show you.
And you know what? It's all new to us as well. We do not know how this matchup turns out. We are just calling it as we see it as these things go on. And as I see it right now, even though the life totals are about even, this looks pretty good to me for Ricardo Sanchez.
Yes, it does. It looks like the downside on that Phantasmal Image, whenever it gets targeted, you have to sacrifice it. Yeah, that is an issue against the Reflector Mage, and Gintz has not been able to mount a defense at all this game. I guess it already started going badly when Gintz didn't have a 1-drop, and yeah, he just never caught up. At least this game will be going better for him.
And also, at least for him, his teammate Jonas Nika on his right-hand side was able to pick up a Game 1. So currently, there are 2 games that have completed their Game 1s here. We're sticking with Sanchez and Dreimanis for now. Cavernous Souls, in this matchup, just the best mana fix you could possibly hope for, as opposed to also getting that fringe benefit of stopping counter magic. I can't imagine we're going to see too much counter magic, at least on creatures, in this matchup.
No, well, even Spell Queller doesn't actually specifically counter something, but exiles the spell. But Cavern of Souls is still one of the better mana fixers you can have.
Reprinted in Ultimate Masters, that's one that, if you're very lucky, you might find yourselves with even a box topper of.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Supreme Phantom now coming down for Drymanis. This is a little bit better for him. He's still also got that Ether Vial up, so he can potentially flash in another spirit with that. He may want to do so in the face of this Kitesail freebooter before it resolves. But no, he reveals a hand of Drogskull Captain, Phantasmal Image, and Worship. Worship, a very interesting card. One originally printed in Urza's Saga, that's the version that we've got here, but it was reprinted such that it's legal in Modern. The 4-mana enchantment means that if you would take damage that reduces you to less than 1 life, instead you just go to 1.
Well, if you control a creature, that's
Yes.
that's the catch.
Yeah, otherwise it would just be, well, I've got this enchantment that says I can't ever lose the game. It would be
Yeah.
But one crucial thing is the reason it's particularly good in Spirit is that this is a deck that has a number of creatures with hexproof. Here we get to see the special little combo of Drogskull Captain plus Phantasmal Image. They each give each other hexproof, and they're giving all spirits +1/+1, which means that this Supreme Phantom attacking in for a fair old chunk of damage here, and all of Gint's Drymanis creatures now have hexproof. Michael Cohen on the top table winning game 1 for the Drymanis team. So actually now, these matchups falling thick and fast here in our feature match area.
Oh yeah. This is indeed why Worship is seeing a bunch of sideboard play in Banned Spirits. There's also Guise of Saint Draft, another hexproof creature that pairs well with the enchantment. But at this point, Gins is, let's say, the aggro player. He is pressuring Sanchez's life total. That Mantis Rider does threaten to block something, but hey, currently the Supreme Phantom is a 3/5. Each Drogskull Captain is a 4/4, because each creature gets boosted by 2 other lords. I guess Sanchez could set up a double block in case Gins attack with all of his creatures. For example, double blocking a Drogskull Captain. But that seems to be a fine exchange, I think, and Gins will still be getting in for a whole bunch of damage in the process.
I mean, the way that this deck plays out, it really feels to me like it's, even though it's 3 colors, it kind of feels like an update to Merfolk. You've got a lot of lords, and then you've got meaningful disruption. In this instance, you don't really need to do as much work to make your guys difficult to block, because flying is a relatively scarce resource within Modern in terms of what people choose to play. And here we get a chance to see that Gintz can choose to both have a creature that's attacking and difficult to block and have good creatures on defense here too. As Thalia's Lieutenant comes down and pumps Ricardo's team.
Yeah, so Gins only attacked with the Phantom. They're not wanting to trade his Drogskull Captain for a Mantis Rider. That could indeed have worked out badly if Sanchez would have been able to follow up with, say, a Reflector Mage to effectively kill the Phantasmal Image. So
The Phantasmal Image has hexproof though.
No, if Gins had attacked with
yes.
the Drogskull Captain and got it in a trade.
Okay, here's a collected company. This could be where Gintz is able to close the door on this game. Looking for at the top 6 for a couple of creatures to put into play. We have another Drogskull Captain and a Selfless Spirit. None of these spirits are going to be anything other than huge, and that's enough for Ricardo Sanchez to pick up his cards. Gintz gets some points on the board, so now we have Michael Cohen, Jonas Nika, and Gintz Drymanis all having picked up their Game 1 wins. Oh, sorry, at least 1 win, should I say, because Ricardo Sanchez is preventing the full shellacking for the team of Morale, Garcia, and Sanchez thus far with a single win in his match.
Yep. Well, at least the lesson I learned from the previous game is that in a battle of 2 tribal decks, the player with the more lords is the one who is usually winning.
So Collected Company getting stolen there by Kitesail Freebooter, but we have a Spell Queller, Supreme Phantom and a Drogskull Captain alongside a couple of lands here. So a solid hand for Gintz. He's going to be able to play a Lord on turn 2, a Lord on turn 3 if he so chooses. He even has the lands to do so. Champion of the Parish, though, it does grow comparatively quickly here, so this is going to be a good old-fashioned race, I would imagine.
Yeah, that in a way also counts as a lord, or at least it's a big tribal payoff. The Spirits deck does have a couple of ways of dealing with Champion of the Parish. Usually a couple of copies of Path to Exile, and Reflector Mage, also a relatively new addition that's seeing more and more play in the Spirits decks. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Champion of the Parish attack for as much as, say, 6 damage on the next turn.
Yeah, if Ricardo Sanchez can reliably play a couple of humans here, get that Exalted trigger, it's amazing how these things stack up, especially once you start throwing around some of those humans being the likes of Thalia's Lieutenant.
Exactly. Well, speak of the devil.
There we go. So one counter going on all of those other humans. Effectively should have been...
Oh, wow.
I think we might have... Has there been a counter missed by that Champion of the Parish? It should have got 2 effectively from Thalia's Lieutenant, right?
Yes, you are correct. Because I think it started at a 2/2, then there was the Lieutenant, then the Noble Hierarch. Yeah, it looks like Sanchez missed one trigger, which no, you are responsible for remembering your own triggers, and your opponent doesn't have to remind you if you miss such a thing. Still, it's attacking for 6, which is big enough.
Yeah, maybe he was thinking about ensnaring Bridge. Maybe that's what was going on. I don't know. It seems unlikely. But, I want to give him at least some benefit of doubt. As things stand, though, for Ginstrymanis, he's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit if he wants to be able to fight against this relatively decent start here from the humans list. It's only got 2 lands in play, but it's got a lot going on here. As it turns out, when you draw a hand with plenty of 1-drops, you can be fairly explosive. We know that he has access to both Spell Queller and a Lord, and the fact that he's passed the turn here means that he's content to have a Spell Queller.
Yeah, but the awkward thing is that Sanchez also knows that there is a Spell Queller. In fact, he saw it with Kitesail Freebooter. So for Sanchez, it's pretty easy to say, well, I'm currently ahead on board. I'm just content to attack and not cast anything. If you want to sit there and not use your mana and not play your Spell Queller, that's fine.
Yeah, in the end, that Spell Queller just getting flashed in at end of turn because Ricardo Sanchez choosing not to put anything into play there. I think he did have the likes of Gadok Teague in hand that he could have thrown down there, but elected not to bother. Gadok Teague, not even a human, so Cavernous Souls probably wouldn't have helped. Likewise, in fact, the lands that Ricardo Sanchez had, he would not have had to use. He would have had to use Noble Hierarchs to cast it.
Mm. But why cast it when you know that there's a Spell Queller lurking in the wings? Now you can cast it on the next turn and actually resolve it.
All right, so what's going to come next here from Ginstrymanis? On 6 life, he's going to need to get a little bit going. There's a Supreme Phantom. Spell, that's where he wanted to be. Selfless Spirit, a lovely spell to get down here. The 2/1 Spirit can be sacrificed to give Gint other creatures indestructible, and that means that, in principle, there might even be a nice set of blocks he can line up, even against a big creature from the other side of the table.
Oh, for sure. This was a very good turn for Gint. And he still has Droxel Captain in hand. That was revealed with Kitesail Freebooter earlier. Now he has more than enough power to block the Champion of the Parish and take it down, and then also give his own spirits indestructible with the Selfless Spirit. So, right, the Spell Queller is 4 power. Each Supreme Phantom is 2 power. So that is more than enough.
The other thing that was good about the turn for Ginstrymanis was he got a chance to look across to his teammates and discover that Michael Cohen has already won his match 2-0. So we are fast reaching a point where the team on the right of our screen is able to take down this entire series and advance to 8-1 here in round 9.
Always a good feeling. But suddenly the situation is looking much worse for Sanchez. He didn't want to attack with his Champion of the Parish and effectively just traded for a Selfless Spirit. Maybe he could have attacked with something else, but you don't want to have your Kitesail Freebooter die in combat and give the Collected Company back.
Worth noting, of course, that even if the Kite Self-Rebooter dies, Gadok Teague being in play means that that collected company not too big a deal. Drogskull Captain a much bigger concern just because of the Laudability, meaning that it's not going to take very many attacks for Ginstrymanis to close things out once he decides that he wants to attack here. Obviously, you need to be careful about the Alpha Strike back, the big swings in return. He's on just 6 life, but we could very well see this close out very quickly indeed.
The Self-to Spirit, it's mainly there for the sacrifice ability, so might as well attack. Deals 5, thanks to all the lords. And now, Sanchez has to come up with something, or he's in danger of dying to an Alpha Strike on the next turn.
Yeah, didn't take up that Ether Vial, which seems a little awkward. And yeah, it looks like we've got the handshake there. I presume that means, yes, Jonas Nika able to win his one. So as it turns out, Ginstrymanis, I think that he was just starting to turn things around there, could well have got to a point where he was also able to pick up the win. So very strong showing from that team, advancing to 8-1 here as we get to round 9. That is the end of our round 9. There will, of course, be plenty more Magic. We've got 6 rounds of regular Swiss play before we cut to our top 4, which will, of course, bring you in its totality. But round 10, we're on the even numbers. That means that it's Raph and Riley show, bringing you a little bit more Team Modern Unified after these messages.